In today's video, we're going to be talking about the leaks from over the weekend that revealed 4 potential Marvel cards as part of the big Magic X Marvel crossover that's slated to start next year. They are not confirmed to be real at this point, and we will not really know for sure whether there is any legitimacy to them, at least until October 18th when the first previews start to happen. But let's talk about them in the video. Alright everybody, thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys taking the time to watch these videos. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and then click the bell icon if you want to be notified when new videos are posted. And again, I'll put a graphic up on the screen. None of these cards are confirmed as of this time. This is a leak that has a source that we'll talk about in just a minute here. A lot of people have been talking about it. I actually didn't make a video about it right away because there was no way to verify the legitimacy of it. I didn't want to perpetuate the whole idea of this, oh, look at these cards, they may be real, they may not be real, whatever. But the more I look into it, the more comes out about it. They seem to be legit, but again, completely grain of salt. I wouldn't go buying stuff for these cards specifically or anything like that until we know whether or not they are real. A couple of important notes here. We are slated on October 18th to get previews at New York Comic Con, an upcoming first look at the new Marvel stuff. We do know next year there will be a full Marvel set, which I am very excited about. Obviously, as a big fan of Marvel, it's a crossover I'm really looking forward to. We have that and Final Fantasy, so there is definitely a lot of things to kind of talk about coming down the pipeline for Universes Beyond. I think we've had some really good regular Magic products lately, and I hope that will continue. But you have to understand that people are going to be super pumped about this stuff for Marvel. It's just the nature of it. Not everyone's going to love it. You're going to have a lot of people who are like, this isn't Magic, etc., etc. But the idea of being able to build a commander deck and play with some of your favorite Marvel superheroes, that to me is super exciting, and I really like that crossover. But again, I do just want to note that these are not confirmed to be legitimate. They are here, however, and if you look at the picture, in this picture, when I saw it, I was like, wow, these look, completely realistic. In the photo that was actually posted, and you can see this was posted on Reddit, there's the Chucky secret layers are sort of in the top left over there. That's what those are. And based on the overall set codes on these, it looks like they are slated to be a secret lair drop. Now, whether or not they're all separate or there's other, we have no idea what the deal is with that. They could be, if they're real, they could be prize cards for something, like for a secret lair for an event. They could be doing some mechanically unique Marvel secret lairs. I kind of hope that's not the case because I don't like the idea of secret lair cards being mechanically unique, but it's definitely a possibility. And again, I just want to give thanks to MTG Rocks, where I got this article that I'm referencing in this video from. I just want to go ahead and thank them because this is what I'm using as the source here. But let's take a look at these 4 cards here to the best of our ability, because I do think it's interesting to look at, I don't want to get too excited about the possibility of cards that could very well be fake, but the reason I'm inclined to think they're legitimate is because the original listing, which has since been taken down, was posted on Facebook Marketplace, and there was the Chucky secret layers, as I mentioned, as well as a bunch of this looking like it was stolen or taken from somewhere else. And a lot of the secret layer stuff is printed in different facilities, and as you know, they're not doing print to demand anymore for secret layers, so the idea that they're starting to print a lot of this stuff sooner and have it just ready for when the time comes is not a crazy far-fetched idea. That's very much a realistic possibility. Someone that works in the printing factory where these are made could very well have taken some or gotten their hands on some. But again, they could be fake. The aesthetic of them, the way they're laid out, everything looks very legitimate. And that's the part that's, it's a little concerning, for one, because it's how is something so big as this Marvel collab already getting leaked to well before it's actually slated to release? But let's look at the cards themselves for a minute here and see, whether or not any of them actually seem to be worthwhile. And the one thing I will note here is the art on them all is pretty fantastic, and I'm going to just kind of go through each one here, and I'm hoping that I can perhaps, when I'm actually doing the video itself here, editing, post-production, we can maybe get a graphic that doesn't show this sideways, because I have had some trouble finding a decent picture, so I might have to do a little bit of little bit of manual there, but let's assume these are legitimate. We've got Black Panther, Wakandan King. It is a green and a white legendary creature, human noble hero. So that hero subtype seems to carry over on all of these so far, which isn't shocking. I'm guessing there will definitely be some cards that utilize it. It has first strike, and it has an ability that says whenever Black Panther or another creature you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target land you control. And then Mind Vibranium is, it looks like pay 3? It's a little hard to tell. If anyone can get a better view on that, I think it's 3. Move all +1/+1 counters from target land you control onto target creature. If one or more +1/+1 counters are moved this way, you gain that much life and draw a card. So the green-white is an awesome color combination for landfall purposes. I think there's a ton of cards that work really well with that. So the combination of landfall, perhaps, which can definitely work to generate counters, as well as like token spam or other ways to get these counters kind of rectified onto these lands, especially because it doesn't specify non-token creatures. There's nothing that says it can't just be, you know, a bunch of low-cost tokens and you start to stack up the counters. Really makes this one super interesting on paper if it were real, and obviously I like the idea that it plays into, you know, Wakanda and all of that being a living thing or whatever you want to call it. It's a pretty cool card. I think I like the aesthetic. I can't tell what the cost is on that. It's pretty blurry. But hopefully maybe someone has seen it and will know and can provide a little bit of context in the comments on that. We've got Iron Man, Titan of Innovation. It's 3 blue-red, legendary artifact creature, human hero with flying and haste. And then the ability, whenever Iron Man attacks, create a treasure token, then you may sacrifice a non-creature artifact. If you do, search your library for an artifact card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed artifact's mana value, put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Similar to like Oswald Fiddlebender card that comes to mind, where you can sack an artifact to bring out a higher cost one. Non-creature artifact means obviously he can't sack himself, but it doesn't say anything about non-token. So that does give you some flexibility there, you know, sacking a token and then bringing out a 1-drop, you know, like a soul, you know, sack a treasure token, bring out a soul ring, whatever. Certainly can't bring out like a Jeweled Lotus or anything with that anymore. Those are all, of course, banned now. If you guys didn't see the ban list video yesterday, but there's a lot to like about this. It's a little costly, but with flying and haste, you can get it going right off the bat, and obviously that the Izzet color combination certainly works interestingly enough within this. I think blue artifacts, there's a lot of them, and a lot of them that have the ability to reduce costs and stuff, so you probably get some things going with this. And I may, you know, once we have some better idea on whether or not these are actually legitimate, I might make a more in-depth video for each one, like talking about some cards that would work for them as commanders. But I just, you know, I hesitate to put that much time and effort into something that may not be real, but I mean, even as I'm going through this, looking at them, they really do look extremely, extremely legitimate. So, you know, maybe there's some ways to confirm this if they can find out, you know, we see the artist's name on the bottom, maybe touch base on that, and see if we can figure out, you know, hey, did you draw this? But I don't even know if they'd be able to give that information out. Hopefully, you know, whatever the person was that did take these, if that is the case, you know, there's some type of reprimand, because obviously this isn't good. You know, as a content creator, it's awesome, right? Because it's like free stuff to talk about. But as a, you know, player base and stuff, we're trying to enjoy Duskmourn, and now this is obviously going to be massively, you know, overshadowing that, I think. Anyway, though, I'm getting a little off track. So Wolverine, best there is, 1 green-red, legendary creature, mutant berserker hero, and it has double all damage Wolverine would deal. That's pretty good. At the beginning of each end step, if Wolverine dealt damage to another creature this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on him, and then 1 and a green, regenerate Wolverine. So of course he had to have regenerate. That's kind of to be expected. I don't know why he doesn't just have like double strike, but I guess maybe it, like, because he obviously doesn't have first strike either. So, you know, it swings, doubling damage. It's going to double the damage to creatures as well, I think. It's just not going to do it at first strike, then second strike speed. Really interesting card, though. And if he deals damage, you put a counter on something, or dealt damage to another creature, you put a counter on it. So the idea is he can go out, he can fight, he does extra damage, and then if he would die, you regenerate him, you bring him back, and then you could put the counter on him. I kind of like him. I think it's cool. There's definitely gotta be some ways to utilize this guy, but as a commander, I could see him working in a bit of a Voltron type strategy, certainly if you can power him up. Now, the last one that was revealed is Captain America First Avenger. This is red, white, blue, of course. Someone pointed out that one of the few concerns people had about the legitimacy of this is that the red, white, blue is technically out of order for how the symbols usually appear, but they have broken those rules in the past for certain things, especially with Universes Beyond, and obviously red, white, blue, Captain America, like, it all makes sense. Legendary creature, human soldier, hero with throw. You pay 3, unattach an equipment from Captain America. He deals damage equal to that equipment's mana value, divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. Then his second ability says, at the beginning of combat on your turn, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to Captain America. By far, this is the most exciting prospect for a commander for me, as well as just being a generally strong card. Like, utilizing something like Colossus Hammer with this, where you can equip it for free, and give him a massive buff, but then also, you know, be able to detach it, hit some stuff. The higher cost equipments are obviously going to be better, right? Because you're going to be able to do more damage to the creatures and stuff. But even a lower cost, you know, thing that costs, say, 3, you take it off, you hit stuff with it, and then you put the equipment back on, or you put a different equipment on. I really like what they're going for with this, and obviously red white is like the best equipment color combination you could really look for, with so many cards that can bypass and reduce those costs. I think this is definitely really cool if real, but all of them are neat. It's still kind of surreal to see the Marvel stuff, and my most exciting thing about all of it is that this stuff is not, it doesn't look like MCU, and I like the MCU, but what I wanted from this was to have more of a comic style, like unique drawings, not just ripping stuff right from the comics and coloring it, you know, changing the color, changing the formatting, whatever. These look like they're all new drawings, new designs, and maybe not every card will be that way, or maybe they'll do some special comic variants, which would be kind of cool. There's obviously a lot of different directions they could take it, but I'm excited about the collab, and I hope these are real. I just, you know, again, take it with a grain of salt because we really don't know. But from a playability perspective, some of these are going to be really solid, and it makes me optimistic about what other stuff we might see. So just kind of wanted to cover it. I'm not diving too deep into it because, again, I don't know how legitimate they are, but a lot of times these leaks do end up being real. I've just started to see if something, you know, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's probably a duck. I would say it's highly likely that these are real, but we won't know until then. And then the question is, you know, when was Wizards planning on revealing these? If they're going to reveal these at the first look event, then maybe they just do that. If they weren't initially and we're going to wait, then maybe they do them, cover them there so that they can capitalize on some of the hype that people already have going around. Surely they can reach out to whoever, if they find who had these, and take some legal action, but the news is already out there, you know, there's no way to quell that, of course. So it's going to be interesting, but let me know what you guys think. Do you think they're real? If you do you think they're good? And are you excited about these? Because, I mean, it's kind of hard as a Marvel fan and a Magic fan to not have some optimism about the ability to play with these cards. That's going to do it for this video. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.